I got pregnant with my first son. It went really well. It was a normal pregnancy. He was born in the 39th week, big, healthy, and thank God. We decided to get pregnant with a second one, but we weren't that young anymore, so we decided to have another quickly. I got pregnant with my second child. When I was 21 weeks pregnant, I was already dilated, and the gestational sac was very low. And then we started this fight to save Julia. This happened on a Monday, on June 3rd. On Sunday, the day before, God had given me a word, and I've never forgotten the word. It is in Psalms. The fruit of the womb is a reward. At the moment that I received this news, I immediately remembered this verse, that she would be my reward because God doesn't give gifts by half, gifts with problems. God's gift is perfect. So then they sent me to the hospital. On the 14th, I started to lose liquid. I was already 6 centimeters dilated and the gestational sac was very low. It could rupture at any moment, and the doctor said that with this gestational age, we wouldn't have the slightest chance. So then, the more she remained inside, more chance she would have to live. They tried to do a procedure called cerclage, that they call heroic cerclage. When there is nothing else to do, it's the last chance. They suture the uterus, right? And they close it. They tie the uterus so it can hold the baby.
There are certain cases in which the baby remains in the wrong position and the cerclage does not work out.
They had to remove the cerclage. I dilated it once from 6 to 10. I was already 24 weeks pregnant, almost 25. And they still said the baby's too small, the chances are so small.
And so they were saying that the baby had a high risk of having defects.
The baby had her feet almost out already. By medical evaluation, the risk of strangling the foot and having necrosis was bigger than the risk of her being born, so they opted for her to be born. And they said, look, it's a risky delivery, a C-section. Your uterus is so contracted, and my husband was always with me. At this moment, he went out to pray. I went to the surgery center, and everything went well. The baby was born, and then we fought for 102 days.
But we trusted a lot in God. We didn't get worried with what the doctor said, with what happened.
What moved me, what made me go through the day in the hospital and come back on the next day to sleep was my faith. Because if it wasn't for this, I wouldn't have had the conditions. I saw my daughter get so many times purple or black because the saturation was low. Her heart started beating slower. She couldn't keep up. They called the psychologist and I explained everything to them. The same things, but I always talked about faith. Not satisfied, the director from the ICU came. I don't know if she wanted to give me a final shock. She stared at my eyes and said, do you know what Julia has? Do you know what this breathing machine means? It means death, but I understood that she was instigating my faith. I accepted this instigation. I said, okay then. There was a Sunday that Dr. Soares came to Sitio Cercado. I remember this song. The worse, why? Why the worse? Why would I accept it? If you only need to believe in God the Father, He wants the best for us. So then I left there with it in my heart. I went home and talked to my husband. He also understood this. I said to him, let's enter in campaign, both of us. Let's determine that Julia won't need help to breathe anymore. And then we prayed beside the incubator. She was still using the breathing mask, and we determined her healing. And I said, why the worst? God does not want the worst. He has the best only for us.
After 1 week, Julia comes out of the ICU.
At the final period of her hospitalization, she had a problem in her eyes because of the prematurity. The blood vessels were not formed yet. The problem had evolved to stage 2. And then they got really worried because an intervention was needed. I don't forget what the doctor said. She made an evaluation and said it had regressed to stage 1. Her superior evaluated. And then she said, look, Mother, this does not happen ever. Then I said, Doctor, it's a miracle. It happens. So then I left the hospital radiant. Not only it didn't evolve, but it zeroed, it regressed to 0. Julia does not have any malformation in the blood vessels of her eyes because of the prematurity. So then she was released from the ophthalmologist, and now she is a healthy baby.
She is a blessing in our lives, a great joy.
She continues to grow like a normal baby that is 3 months old.
And now she already has 5.5 kilos. And looking at her trajectory, she is a normal child. Me and my wife are sponsors of the Faith Show.
And today we have a family. We have our children that are healthy because someone sponsored the work one day. And God saved us, saved our lives, and now we can say in everything that we see God's hands. And we desire this for others. Having our family together is a miracle from God. It is perfect. It is our dream coming true.